The Immortal Mask, a 1970s superhero crime noir adventure, follows a retired soldier turned reporter who is given a coveted interview with a death row inmate. What he learns thrusts him into Atlanta's shadowy underworld. He'll have to use his military training to survive being hunted for possessing the information that could topple the city's most powerful ruling class. This is not a pre-order or a crowdfunding campaign. Get your books now at denali's.com.
I wish I could find a way to better advertise Apothic Press.
Just back it already.
Whoa, Crom, what are you doing here? What's this? The Madness Roku Network. Sponsorship. 1 month of playing your 30-second ad on the network 3 times a day? Oh my gosh, for $20? And you can't beat that.
Just back it already.
All right, Crom, I'm doing it. Awesome. Hi, I'm Tanner Hurley, founder of Apothic Press. I back the Madness Roku Network, and so should you.
Seconds to curtain, folks.
Your favorite podcast is Critical Plus.
Ladies and gentlemen, Whitefire Comics is in the house.
Oh, applause. Wow. Thank you.
Wonderful studio audience here tonight. Really big show.
I had to say this. I thought I would never see Scooter again from the Muppets. I just was like, wow.
Oh,
it was burned into my memory. I'm like, that would be great if I could find one of those intros. And I found somebody did a collage of them.
Oh,
Like in every single one, he mentioned the guest star.
nice.
But on one episode, he said folks. And I was like, that's the one I want. And it just so happens that the intro afterwards is 25 seconds long. So it's like,
It just fit.
It's like he recorded it just for us.
Oh,
Already got people starting to pile into the chat here. Mike Walters is here to like and share the live stream. So we're glad you did that, Mike. Appreciate it. Do share. I never ask for likes. I don't care if you like me. I care. Try. If you don't. But I do ask for the share. It's always for the guests to get out the word that they're here. We've got a Kickstarter tonight. Instead of telling you at the end of the show when it does you no darn good for us, because we want to see the numbers roll, the link for this Kickstarter is right below the video. It's in the description. We're only on YouTube, so it's not like you're on Twitter saying, what's he talking about? No, we're only on YouTube. We're only broadcasting there. It's right down there. Click it. Opens in a new window. You can throw money at this project, get your wallets out, and you can still hear the interview go on in the other tab while you're clicking away and picking your tier. Please do that. We want to see this thing grow. We would love to raise $553 tonight. I just put that number out, but I think that's enough to fund.
yeah. That would get us
Doran.
close. U.S. That's the trick.
U.S. It's got the U.S. Don't go giving us none of that Zimbabwe dollars.
I don't know, and I'm in Canada, so we're like 25% less, right?
Yeah, you're playing with monopoly money. So Doran, it's been what, a year since you first decided to rake hell?
It's actually been a couple, I think now. I think it's been almost 2, and it's kind of scary to say, but it's probably close to a year and a half to 2.
That's
we're raking it.
That's the thing with crowdfunded comics, isn't it? I mean, it's you doing it all,
yes.
And
yeah. And before I decided to get back to it, there's a lot of things I wanted to get in place before I released this one, and I really thought hard about. One was whitefirecomics.com. So I built it all myself. So I've actually been working on that, and I've got my Shopify store started. It's the basics right now, but it's started. So I started to get all my infrastructure in place now, right? I wanted to make sure that I was more kind of outside it, like I had everything rolling, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. Because it was getting outdated. The website, when it gets outdated, it's got to do something about it, and I wanted to keep it simple. So I've been really busy on that front, and of course, releasing the Forsaken Future #1 in about May. I think I released that, so that went out. But I've been skipping back and forth, which I'm starting to wonder if I should be doing or if I should just focus on one, right? So that's the hard balance I'm doing right now.
it's a balancing act.
It is.
So apparently last night you got introduced to the mic stand show.
Yes. Yeah, Mike, that was me. That was me trolling around on your show last night. RJ had mentioned that we're going to have wrestling on. I'm like, what wrestling's going to be on it? So I jumped over to it.
You gotta listen. I don't think Mike has the show divided. And Mike, I know you're listening. I don't think you have the show divided into like first 20 minutes. I'm definitely devoting to this. The next 20 minutes is devoted to this, and then the following 20 minutes is devoted to that. So that people who I'm wrestling, I'm tuning in at 40 minutes after, or I'm manga, I'm tuning in at 20 minutes after. So you've got to watch the whole show. You got to.
Yeah. He kept me hooked till the end, and the last 15 minutes was wrestling. But the rest of it was comic talk, so it's all good, right? All these crazy.
You got to come back on Friday. You've got to come back on a Friday when they're doing the historical comic retrospective.
Gotcha.
Especially, I'm looking for my calendar.
Oh, he's reaching for something. He's reaching for something.
It's an analog calendar.
Oh,
it's like pencil and ink and all that good stuff. Especially November 3rd. I know Mike has told me what the books will be. I immediately forget because I'm just going to read what's there. But I will be guest hosting on November 3rd on the mic stand. And do voices, and do sound effects. I get to do the narration, and of course, the only narrator in the world worth copying is Ted Knight. So
Nice. Yeah.
It's a ton of fun. Yeah, if folks hit the mic stand, Mike will drop the link near the end of the show because it goes on right. Like the rest of the show is about Doran and RakeHell. I realized something video for this. When you mentioned, that it was a Knights Templar order fighting the devil. Like, I've seen stories about the Knights Templar that were set in a more crusade medieval time period, ancient popes and all that good stuff. And I've seen Templar stories where they're set modern day, where it's like we're businessmen now, but we've hidden our treasure and we're still guarding it. And the Christ child actually lives in Manhattan, things like that. I don't think I've ever seen anybody realize that, we got a whole bunch of things in between those two periods where, they obviously had to still exist in some fashion. An Old West Knights Templar mashup just suddenly sounds so cool. Dusters and 10-gallon hats and horses and rifles. It's like, wow.
Now we're not in the Old West here. We're in modern day. But it is, there's reasons for that, right? Because the order has been hiding. This particular branch of the order, we'll even call it, not even the original Knights Templar. It is the Knights Templar, but I'm not saying the order of them yet, but it's a division of them that came to America, and the whole part of that idea
good group, you're going to start splintering off into factions.
Yep, and that's really what happened to them in history. That's really what happened to them. When they got called out by Prince Philip, and you can go back and look at the history because I've read quite a few books on them and stuff. It's really kind of a cool story of the treasures they could be hiding, and you hear that about on the Curse of Oak Island and all that stuff. But just the fact of what they've been through, like if you think of it, these guys were paladins of their day. They were like the knights. Like their whole goal was to protect people when they were doing their pilgrimage, right? And that's how they started. And they were supposed to be humble, and they're supposed to be. They had to give up all your wealth to become a knight. If you were rich, you weren't allowed to keep your wealth. Everything had to go to the order, right? But then they got betrayed, and this is the greatest part of the baddest part of the story. But they got betrayed in the worst fashion when they got Prince Philip was so far in debt to them because they had done so much to protect him that he turned on them, and he literally made them all tortured them, made half them confess to things they didn't do. Is the claim, and the Pope got stuck. There's this big political thing, but even the Pope ended up really not protecting them, and it was actually, I believe, it's the Order of Christ got started out of Portugal, and that's why there's such a high level of Templar activity there. But anyways, I could go on about what they've done, but it's really cool. And you think of that betrayal and the fact that maybe demons could have been involved with that, not wanting this kind of order to exist, and how I'm definitely including a lot of different things to what happened to the order into the story, and kind of twisting it and trying and putting a bit of their history in there. Like these were, they had some great sayings, like "Be without fear," always forward. They had some great lessons that we could learn today, that it can help us all. So I think it's a really cool thing.
And of course, in RakeHell, you not only have the Templar, I'm going to say knights because I don't think a king has touched anyone on the shoulder lately that's in the Templars, but they're still knights.
No.
But you've got a literal manifestation of the devil.
Yeah, a subdemon called a RakeHell. Yeah, so basically formed from the flesh of the devil himself. He's created this new order himself, and it's all about the cursed town of RakeHell caught in the middle of this. And they're egotistical enough to have called the town RakeHell after themselves. So it's about the battle for this old town. I know it looks old Western, but really it's modern day. It's just a ghost town now. There's just the town has been decimated. And that's where it's kind of going to with everything. Like there's not much left of this town, but what happened in issue 1, not to go too far into it, but this is the other thing that I think is very unique about the story that I've never seen happen before, is the demon the RakeHell is crossed over. So it's not about necessarily they possess people, they manipulate people, they torture souls, right? But now one is actually crossed over. Keeper, who is my Templar, the reference in here, his order, he didn't mean to do it, but he crossed one over into our world, and now he's accountable for the fact that this thing is out there, right? So this is where we're getting to in the story, and where it goes, I'm telling you, Azrael was an influence. I have those upstairs. I was actually looking at those the other day. That was a great storyline. There's some fantastic stuff, and where I take it is not probably where you're going to expect it to go. And I don't think any horror dark fantasy has ever been there. It'll come back out of it, but I don't want to ruin it too much. It'll take 3 more episodes. Hopefully I get to it to get it there, but it's not your typical kind of like you think the town's there and he's here, just going to go to town. It's not as simple as that, right? His order is fractured, and the story will go more into that. So it's not like he's going to go around and find a bunch of Templars. Pretty much they're wiped out. So what does he do? He's old. He's at this point, he's got this, he's kind of alone. So, and he's protecting a graveyard. And why is he protecting the graveyard? And what's going on at the graveyard? In issue 1, there's a couple things that get released there, but I won't go too much into.
Yeah, because that was going to be my question. It's like if the town is decimated already, and we're misusing the word decimated. This town is wiped out. Decimated is just a tenth of it.
Yeah, there's only a couple people in town left, and you have to be a pretty strong soul to be still there, right?
So what are the stakes here? Don't tell me it's a fiddle.
A fiddle. So what do you mean, literal stakes? Well, it's all about the whole idea even of RakeHell. And so I have another short story called Gabriel, Hand of God. And then I've got Quint, or the Great Jonathan Quint. So the Great Jonathan Quint is what started this short story I did years ago, which relates back into this. But the idea is that heaven and hell are still in their combat, right, in the afterlife. And I tried to introduce this whole bigger world of that. But the idea is everything's out of balance. The RakeHells have unbalanced that fight. And these what I call Lydians, which are redeemed souls. So God didn't have enough souls to fight anymore. And really, angels aren't the best fighters in the world. So he redeemed people from purgatory who would fight. And I call them Lydians. So the battle is now between Lydians and demons. And that whole world is around this. So this is kind of a very small story in a bigger world of things. And it's definitely more about that balance and why this town, right? Why have the Templars stayed here? Why would they be protecting this town? And especially, as you say, it's decimated, right? So what's kind of going on?
So there's something there, and it's in the cemetery, people, but we're not going to find out exactly what for. You said about 3 more issues. So are you looking at this as a 6-issue series, or?
That will get us, it'll probably be about 12, I would think, by the time it's done. And then it will be set up to continue past that. But yeah, it's I got some fun characters. Unfortunately, there's no not a lot of female characters that'll be coming, some of the females. So I know to the comic world of indie comics, that's probably, you don't see very many like this, but I'm trying to tell the story, right? And as it falls into place, it falls into place. But in this issue, I'm introducing actually this guy here, Nick, who's the RakeHell County police officer. There's a reason he has a toque on his head, as we would say in Canada, or a hat on his head. You know what I mean? We've got kind of the introduction of the Hellhound, which I started calling a Rakehound in another interview. And I thought to myself, that's actually pretty cool. And then we've got Mangrel, which is the demon that's crossed over there. And this is a new character I'm introducing called Trev's Towall. So lots to do with these characters is going to be very interesting, especially Trev. I really like Trev. The idea of having someone who's supposed to help you as a tow truck driver possibly getting corrupted is a real interesting story situation, I think, especially in the back country in the middle of nowhere is where this town is, right, where you got really no help. That's a serial killer story that hasn't been done yet, like the tow truck driver. He's got chains and hooks, and you called him and told him where you are out in or does he set you up? So
He
your
doesn't
car
have to
breaks
do any
down,
work.
right? You know what I mean? He's making some work for himself, and he's capturing himself a new soul. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So do the people in the town, are they aware of the
Oh, yeah.
situation they're in?
Oh yes. Well, the town itself? There's almost nothing left of it, but yes, some are, and those who go there really, like, as I kind of say in that, there's that little kind of summary up above. If you visit RakeHell, nobody will tell you that it's a bad place. Like if you stumble across this town, because there's no one left pretty well now in the storyline, but just because of the fear of the retribution of like what the demons will do to you, and they don't want to invoke any more problems. those who are left, right? Who know?
So why don't they leave?
Well, it's pretty well, yeah, that's why it's pretty well dead now. yeah. So the only people left.
That's it. The town is dead.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else.
Yeah,
It's
get
like,
the heck out of get the
we have
hell
deserts
out
in
of
America.
there.
We don't live in them.
Right. But you know what? Some people are protecting maybe something. Maybe there's other reasons that people have dug in that have to do with the history of the town and why the Templars chose there, right? Trev is, you'll see no one here is really, he's this guy here, the police officer, he's RakeHell County Police. He's not RakeHell town itself, but he's also new. Like he's like asking what's wrong with this place, right? You know what I mean? Like he's totally got this new position at this police station, and he's all alone out there. It's the only promotion he could get where he could get what he wanted. And he doesn't know what the heck's going on, right?
Now see, he's the prime character to become the whole protagonist, because he's got to discover it all. We discover it through him.
Yes.
And that's the trope, isn't it? I mean, when we saw what was that sci-fi series set in Maine where all the people had the troubles, and it was based on a Stephen King book, and
it wasn't The Mist.
Wasn't The Mist?
Sound so familiar?
Long-running series.
Is that where they're in the bubble of the town?
No, they weren't in a bubble, but like everybody had a supernatural affliction. And the lady who shows up to work on the police force, she's somehow immune to all the troubles thing. That's her deal.
Okay.
It's escaping my mind now. But
sure
it was based on the short story, Whatever Happened to the Colorado Kid. Same thing with Twin Peaks. The FBI agent shows up and he's discovering it all.
Yep. Yeah, and there's a lot of different reasons, like for why things are happening. And you're right, the police officer is a great way to tell the story. Though there's a couple other characters too I introduced in issue 1 that will be able to that will be involved too. Like there was a couple correctional officers delivering a body in issue 1, for instance. I won't talk too much more about that, but they were delivering a casket to keep her. So so there's some room there to. One of them is young, and she's actually new as well, but that's not really talked about too much. And it's kind of introduced at the first that she seems like she's a rookie. She's introduced as a rookie, so she's another character who this story will be told through it in another aspect of it too. Yeah.
Okay, so a 12-issue story. That's have you written out all the chapters yet? I mean, this is
I have it. It's in my brain, but it's not written out into the chapters, into the Excel sheet. So I don't know if you've ever heard of that. There's like a method that's called to plan out something like this. You put it in the best way to start. I was always told is to use an Excel sheet, segment it out, and then as you have new ideas, work them in. So that's what I did with the Forsaken Future as well. So I'm always
that counts as being written down.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. And it's a challenge because you come up with cool new ideas and you've got to shift something, right? Because you can only fit so much in an issue. And that's why I for a couple reasons why I raised the page count. So the issue 1 is 24 pages. This is 32. The other reason is because it's taking me longer to get the comics out. So I'd like to add some more pages to them, just to give the reader a little bit more when they get into it.
Yeah, I used to use Excel spreadsheets to plot out when I was writing novels. And what I would do is I'd be like, every row was a chapter. And then the next one was like, quick summary. And then after that, I would color fill empty blocks next to it based on who was in the chapter. So, if it's like, okay, I need these two people, green and blue. She's coming in, it's red. And then I would look at it, I'd be like, oh, wow, it's like green solid down before I get into the color. I've got to mix something up. I've got to shake it up a bit because it's getting
dead on. Yeah, because you have to introduce characters, and that's something I learned with the Forsaken Future. you got to do it in a certain order, right? Or it just won't make sense. So if you do too much of, as you say, green or whatever, then you got to mix in the orange. It adds flavor to your comic too, that kind of, and a little bit of a challenge to introduce people sometimes. But there's different.
Got to stir it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, who's
the art's amazing.
I was talking about the art just now. Are you the artist on this?
I am not. It's Aja Cerezo, who's the artist who did issue 1 as well. Aja's really, really cool. He did that cover as well. So he's really the reason this ever got off the ground. He came out of nowhere and said he wanted to do it. I don't remember exactly how he knew it existed, but somehow he knew about it, and he contacted me, and I was like, okay.
That's another comic book. That's like, okay, there's a RakeHell on Earth, and the way that he's going to get the power is through belief. So he's going to tell somebody, hey, I want to do your RakeHell comic book. The writer says, RakeHell comic book? I have a Rake. Oh, I actually do. How did you find out?
How'd you know?
So a supernatural artist seeking out a way to infect the minds of the readers.
Yes. Maybe you read it, the old creep show type thing.
Yes. Oh yeah. Some great looking painted covers. The whole thing has a painted look to it. This is not a comic art style book. Yeah,
this has got a great look. A lot of great artists. Joaco did the art here on the left of the RakeHell popping out of the skulls. That was Joaco Guerrero. And Erwin, who people may know here from Water Wars. Is it 2077 or 2088 that Timothy Flynn does? This is Erwin J. Arosa. He does a lot of the covers for him. He was looking for some work at one point, and it came out of nowhere. It's actually just before I launched. That's why I didn't plan to have 6 covers. But he was looking for work, and I was like, well, have you ever done horror before? Because your style would look great in a horror. So I gave him the cover for the priest, and it's been really well received, like for the Templar priest. And
the things he does with light in this picture are just
it became the most popular thing that I've done since. I think it's got, like, on Facebook almost 40 to 60 likes, which is for the small time it's been on, it's pretty good. And this here's Joaquin Guerrero again. This is a full cover of his art, but that Hellhound on the front received a lot of good, like a lot of people really loved that thing. They really responded to that as well. And this is back to Aja as well. So Aja does a whole bunch of different styles. Like it's crazy. So I considered this more of I call this the anime horror cover because it reminds me more of an anime style. So it's, as you say, like the other ones are very painted looking. This is, to me, is more of a different style, but it's not, to me, like a standard comic book style. But I set up that cover with Keeper's kind of hat on fire there on the cross with the Hellhound and Mangrel sitting there kind of watching. It's good staging on that one for sure. Some souls kind of popping out in the background. And of course, Keeper on the back. And this one came out of nowhere.
EC. This is the EC cover, folks.
Yeah. So I met George A. Romero about, unfortunately, months before he died at the Comic-Con up here in Ottawa. We actually went to a screening of Creepshow. And he actually commentated through the whole Creepshow thing, talked about Stephen King and his. But anyways, it was really cool to meet him. And unfortunately, he passed. And I was sitting on the weekend. I was like, "What can I do here?" Like, you know what I mean? And it hit me. I could just pay a little homage to Romero, right? You know what I mean? So I went back, and this cover might get me in trouble. It might be too much of a good representation on the front here that I did. I took Joaco's art, I took Aja's art, and I created this cover mimicking the Creepshow's magazines or comics back in the day. Little did I know, I had no idea that Image is about to release Creepshow as a comic series. I just saw an article on that the other day, and I was like, what? And then I turned on Netflix it was Prime or whatever. I was on Amazon Fire Stick, and I saw Creepshow, and I'm like, what? Apparently there's a brand new Creepshow series, and it started the video, and it looked the exact same cover went whoosh into screen. I'm like, oh, this looks exactly like my work.
Hey, but you know what? All those Creepshow and EC horror covers, they had this kind of thing. Look to them. So,
yeah.
And you're going to be out before any of them. So
right. Yeah. As long as I don't take any offense, it's not meant as offense. It's meant as literal. You know what I mean?
It doesn't say Creepshow on it. You're fine.
No. Yeah, I hope so. I even stained that cover a little bit. You can barely, you probably can barely make it out there, but there's actually some discoloration going through the whole cover. You can kind of
to
see it on
make
the
it look
black
like
on the
it's
back a little bit.
distressed.
Like it's aged. Yeah. And this here is my collector's edition. Derek Stevens, George A. Costella, two artists that I've been working with for quite a few years. Derek did the collector's edition 1 for RakeHell, and it's amazing. And so I had him do this cover here based on quite a few different things. A Dungeons and Dragons book, information book called Arcane Acadium, I believe it was called. So that was kind of the idea for it. But anyways, it turned out phenomenal. And the colors went really good, those two. So I ended up turning this into a full foil as a collector's edition. And I ended up putting in, added 8 pages to the comic. So it'll be 40 pages, including the art of the cover art from the other issues. So I'm really trying to turn it more into a collector's edition. Part of it, there'll only be 100 of them ever printed. And it'll come with a decoder card, which is another thing I do with this comic series. So each of my series is I try to do something different. With the Forsaken Future, I ended up doing these ads that are like from RoboCop. Like RoboCop had these sarcastic ads of the future. Well, that's what I did with the Forsaken Future. I put these kind of sarcastic ads into it. In the case of RakeHell, I have this decoder card, and I'm hiding runes in the comic in different spots for people to, as puzzles for them to go find and to interpret. That might give you some extra data, or reference something else in another story, for instance. Yeah.
All right. So you and I love replacement character ciphers. It's just, they're fun. It's whether, I don't care if it even says, buy more Ovaltine.
I guarantee it doesn't say that.
It should somewhere.
Okay. All right.
Be sure to drink your Ovaltine.
All right. Sold. But I'm going to put underneath that in brackets, RJ said to do this. So that's the catch-up tier there. That's issue 1 and issue 2. And remember, everything's in Canadian dollar prices, so you can knock 25% off that for
exactly. And we'll if you look over here on this side, folks, it'll probably here in the US you're called a boot.
A boot? What the heck? A boot? A boot $4. That's not a very good
the
discount.
Digital is a boot $4.
A boot.
Eh?
Sounds a boot, right?
Yeah.
I
almost didn't mean to say that, and then it just kept coming out. I'm like, go with it.
They put it right there for you. I mean, I'll be a shot of Kickstarter at Canada. I'm very insulted right now. I'm almost got a Canadian tear breaking down. We've been so nice. We've said sorry for everything, and yet this is what we get, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. So you know what? I'm gonna scroll down the side here because this is where they're in order. You can get the digital tier, folks, for a pittance. We'll just call it that.
I work hard. So there end up being more tiers I want, but I work hard to make tiers for everybody. From $5, you'll see they'll go up to 10 to 20 to make something for everybody, right? You know what I mean? That they can get something because $5 I think is a good minimum. And again, it's Canadian, so it's like $4. So it's absolutely. But it goes up from there.
That's digital too. I mean, you can get the full 1 and 2 digital here for less than $10.
Yep.
But like Stan Lee said about boobs, they look great on a screen, but nothing like having it in your hand. And that's where the physical.
Yeah, and there's some people who want to collect them and not touch them, right? So that's why having the digital copy with it is. I have a friend who does that. He just bags them. Actually, I believe I'm referencing Corey from System. I'm pretty sure that's the way he collected his comics. He bagged them and read as soon as digital came out. He was the first one who ever told me about digital comics. I'm like, what's a digital comic? But he's like, he bags them and uses the digital to read so that he doesn't have to buy 2 copies.
I don't like reading digital comics. I started reading digital comics, and then as soon as I hit my first, like in the first book, as soon as I hit my first double-page spread, and I had to scroll down, turn the page, scroll up, back, forth, back. I'm like, no, screw this. This sucks.
Yeah, doing it right is important. Then this is what for years. So I was never going to print these originally. This is all Corey's fault. Originally, I was creating a web comic. I was all going to be online on my website. I had made my own reader. I had my own everything going for my website, and it was early on. And I got about 10 pages into it, and I was like, Corey's like, "Well, go in this direction." I'm like, "Okay, well, start printing them and we'll figure it out. And we did the con here. But anyways, that's a whole other spiel down another road. But and now we're here. Now I'm printing them all. Again, and my background is in printing too. So I'm a graphic technician printer by trade. So actually I went to school for 2 years to learn how to use printers and
So you're doing your own printing?
Presses. I'm not, but I understand so as a pre-press technician, which is what I became after I got out of school, I understand what they're talking. Like a lot of people get confused when they talk about bleed and image size and resolutions and what to use. And I'm totally more than up to par with those skills. I'm beyond understanding of that stuff. Plus the web medium as well too. I have a digital web certificate, a web designer certificate. So as I've been drawing since I was a kid as an artist, I was also developing the skills to go with this to create comic books. Actually, my entire life, I was just trying to get to the spot to get them out, right? So, and here we are. Here we start.
You're the guy that when you call the printer up and they try to say, well, the Framistas on the Ramistan, it's it's not a kilter with the hippity doo, and you're like, put the settings at 70% of this, and they're like, oh, sorry.
Yeah. And the person goes, oh, yeah. I said, well, your font isn't there. This is why you're to get there. You have to provide us the font. Like, come on. Like most people go, what's a font back in the day? This is 20 years ago, right? Because computers. So yeah, most people were really confused as a pre-press technician. Like, hey, you just gave us a 72 DPI image to now, back then getting an image was not the same. People had taken photos, scanned them at a low resolution. They would give it to you and want to print a beautiful book out of it. It's like, you got to get us a higher resolution. People did not understand that. They could not understand what the problem was. But if we print this for you, it's going to look really, really crummy, right?
And then, of course, the whole concept of fonts was like, I wrote this in an entirely beautiful looking font, but it's not embedded in the document. And you don't have that font when you open it on your end.
Yep.
And hey, why is it all in Arial? I didn't use that.
And fonts were so expensive back then. You'd be paying, but we had font catalogs. It would be like $600 for a font. So you'd go back to them and go, okay, well, we found the font that looks like this. They wouldn't even know what the font was sometimes. And you go, okay, well, you'd have to go character match it and go, this is the closest thing we can get to you, and it's going to cost you $600. And it'd be like, oh, $600. Maybe I'll try and find it. Yep.
I can pay a letterer.
That's right. Beep. Hang up.
Oh, so you can get this physical edition, folks, for US $11, Canadian $15.
With your digital,
which is a heck of a deal. Considering the fact that it's going to have to ship from Canada to the US.
And it goes through each cover with the it goes up $5 for the variant, or a little less than $5, but yeah, it's around $5 for with the variant covers. I noticed people did that, and I thought to myself, that's probably the right thing to do. It's the first time I've done that. I actually, in the previous ones, the variants I would release at the same price, and I realized most people are charging more for their variants. What am I doing, right? So I think that was the right approach.
I've seen them do both. It's like, if they're saying, we're printing, whatever you want to buy of any variant, then great. And, it would typically, it's like, hey, my buddy Joe did cover A, my friend Sam did cover B. We got Alex Ross to do cover C. That one's going to cost more.
And that's what's happened here is the artists that are costing me more really did the variants. And the way I look at it, the other, so I figured I would charge for that, like I'd seen in other spots. And it's worth it. I think it's amazing art. Amazing art in this one.
Yeah, and they're all here. It's all it's very simple. It's like, do you want this cover with the digital? You want this cover with the digital? They're all, once you get into the variants, they're all Canadian 20, about 15 US, 32 pages. So scroll down right now, guys. Do it live while we're here.
Yeah, and if you are the digital person, like some people are, like you can get that's our whole Whitefire Comics tier. You can get the Forsaken Future. You can get, I mentioned the Untold Tales, which is 2 short stories, all for $15 American about, which I mean, that's a pretty good deal.
Yes, you're getting several comics here for $15. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, four comics. But over 100 pages. So that's a very cool deal. Then we're back into why in the world did that insert itself into the run of variant covers. Seems like it's a different thing. We're back to the variant cover world, and it's the Romero tribute.
Oh, it does it by price. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know why it did that actually. I just
It does it by price, and it's like,
and
they're all
must
the
be
same
alphabetical next. I bet
Has
you
to be.
they have some crazy algorithm like that.
Has to be. That's the next thing they've got to do. They've got to allow you to drag those tiers in the order you want them to be seen.
Yes, I tried to do that and it didn't work. I was like, come on. Yeah.
Well, you know what this is why people say cover A, cover B, cover C, because it goes in order.
Oh. I never thought, like, why do they do that? I like calling them something.
Yeah,
but
well,
yeah,
you can still do that after,
them.
it's like, cover C dash Romero variant, and then it's still alphabetizes. This is the one that keeps speaking to me. I'm like,
I fell in love with it. Yeah, I really
either that one or the one with the priest in the graveyard and all that. That's like
Irwin's.
I'm
yes,
torn.
Yep.
And when you're torn on something like that, folks, the only possible sane solution is you get them both.
Nice.
You get one, and then you add on the other. And I haven't scrolled down to see that, but I assume that are they all available as add-ons?
They mostly are, but I hadn't put them all in yet. Honestly, they will be. They will all be there, but I haven't actually added them all. Some of them are there. But what I don't usually put that I don't mention that in the add-in section because there's so much going on. I just let people kind of discover that when they go into the add-on section.
Yeah. With the exception, I'm sure, of this one, the collector's edition, because you've got to control the quantity.
It's there as a PDF, so you can get the PDF edition of it if you want. But you're right. It isn't. I don't believe it's an add-on. Yeah, it's only the PDF version.
So this is the limited version. It's going to have that special.
I'm surprised
holofoil.
Nobody's picked that up yet. It's going to be full foil. Full foil. I've seen more expensive versions with not as many pages. Full foil. It's
$30 American, which is normally what you'd pay for a basic 32-page comic in crowdfunding. So
so I think it's a really good deal. And it's gonna. I'm telling you. Well, actually, I can show you some of what it would look like. So I've got the foil posters here. Let me. See if I can. Oh, the light doesn't turn. This is the same art in the 1117. Oh, my camera went out of focus. Go back, camera.
Okay. We see shiny. That's what's getting us.
That's the same hollow chrome cover that it would be. Oh, it's too bad that my camera went out of focus. Oh, it's in focus there. But I mean, you can see the shimmer. Like its colors are like crazy. Like it looks really good in the light.
Very, very nice. Moist. Here's your print and digital thing. So you got 5 books here, people, for $44. That's all. Guys,
I don't know why people aren't jumping on this one. I don't know.
Guys,
I've done everything I can to try and attract them in.
Now you're getting number 2 in this one, but you're getting what I'm guessing number 2, the basic cover, the main cover.
Yes, I hate using the word standard cover. I call it the Finder's Keeper cover because all the art to me is so I don't know why a lot of people call them standard I tried to think of a good word for it and I couldn't, so I just use them by their name. It's the Finder's Keeper cover for me. But it's the default.
It's the flagship
non-variant cover.
There we go. Pick the Bones, print and digital. This is you've still got collector's edition versions.
I've got. This is only limited to 20, I believe, or maybe 15.
15. Somebody did jump on that one.
Yeah, so I mean, you're getting both collector's editions, so it's a great deal with the PDFs, of course.
You can get everything.
Well, the Rake It In is interesting. Yeah, that's got my. If you scroll down to the graphic of that one, it's got. So I wanted to start creating Kickstarters that were a little bit different, and I only got partway there. So I've actually created. So I have a laser next to me now. So I've been playing. This doesn't necessarily
fire that laser at us.
But it does in the sense of what I'll show you in a minute. But what I've been doing, because what I've wanted to do for a long time is create die cut covers. So I've already been playing with, and I'll add foil to it, to laser cutting my own covers, which nobody else has ever done before. This is for if we get to RakeHell 4, and then we would have the first, I forget what edition it would be called, but the first graphic novel will probably be die cut, and then it will have foil, another layer of foil inside here that's die cut as well. So it will be, and this will be raised up. But anyways, that's one of the things I've been playing with, is these die cutting comics and getting the different colors from the laser and stuff. But for this particular one, starting out with something that I could do, I created this antique looking bookmark, which is all me and the laser. So it is really, really cool. It's meant to look rustic and old school.
So your laser cuts and it colors.
It laser cuts, but it doesn't color, it tones. So you can use black to gray, but it will, in this particular case, it'll add kind of this tone to it. It's not really color. Unless you use stainless steel. So on stainless steel, it will actually do colors, but there's nothing stainless steel I'm working on right now. So, but anyways,
I can't imagine really having a laser that goes through stainless steel that cuts.
Oh, it doesn't. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't go through the stainless steel. It just burns on it. But oddly, it does different colors for some reason. Don't ask me why, but that's what people do. They put art on. They actually etch it into the stainless steel. And it has all these colors.
Yeah, I used to have a Blu-ray burner.
Oh yeah,
or DVD burner, and it was built into the PC. And I would put a DVD in there. It says, "Oh, you want to burn this?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, you want us to burn a label on the top side? I'm like, "Sure." And I would, turn the thing over, and it would go, zzz, and it would come out. I'm like, "Holy cow, that laser in there is hot."
And that's what spawned these things. These diode lasers that I have. It's the same mentality as those lasers from the Blu-ray player. I was reading that the other day. I was like, what?
As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we're nearing the top of the hour, so be ready to kick over to the mic stand. Mike has graciously provided the link to his show, so right-click copy, open it in a new tab, and then just come back over here. So it'll be ready to start up as soon as we leave here. Do that. No, go ahead and do the like and subscribe while we're talking. That's okay. You're not taking too much away from your attention.
Do your thing.
Yeah. So everything in this one for about $118. Changes day by day depending on the economy.
Yeah. And I can't believe these aren't gone. Like, these are Aja's sketch cards. They sold like hotcakes in version 1.
Where are they at?
They're just add-ons. They're out of my collection. I didn't want to get rid of these. I mean they're nice cards. But I thought it would help the campaign and get some attention to it. But they're still there. I think I said in the description, I'm okay if you don't take these. So maybe that's why they're still here. I'm like, it's okay if you leave these. I'll keep them.
I see something we haven't seen in the story yet, and that is female character.
Yeah, the lady and goddess. Yes. So the idea was that I wanted Aja to create a bunch of characters, and I didn't want to guide him, and I had some character ideas I gave him, but the idea is these characters will get added into the story. So the person who buys the card gets the original art, the literal original art of the character ever done. So that's what these cards really are, is it's the original art of a character before they get put into the storyline. And then I'm working them into the storyline.
So as an add-on, these are available one per, as like, this one or this one.
Yeah, only 3 available. Yeah, $35 each. Yeah. And a lot of cards of that quality would go, if you look for anyone for sketch cards, like the quality of these is through the roof. Sometimes they go as high as $70+ for sketch cards. And they're also 4x6 on top of it. They're not like small.
Yeah.
They're
nice. They're 4x6? That's big.
Yeah. It's a nice big card.
Definitely a deal. These are the die-cut vinyl sticker set.
So no one would ever have seen this before. This is what I call a kick kit. I made this up, and I was selling these at the cons. So after I was done the first Kickstarter, you have some extra stuff left over, right? So I created what's called the kick kit, which is it's really everything you would have got in the Kickstarter, but you can buy it. So in this case, the kick kit costs $15, and what you're getting is everything you would have got as bonuses in RakeHell 1. So the sticker set, we don't have a sticker set in this version. You're getting the 4 art prints are in that bag on the back, the 2 cards there of Lady and Dawn and Artist, the Fate Dealer there, and you're getting a bookmark as well. So it's a fun way if you love collecting and you want to have the experience of issue 1. There's only 2 of these available. I got 2 of them left, so you can get the kit as well.
Oh, get it now. There's only 2. They're at $15 Canadian, which means that it's like a soda pop here in the U.S. So
yeah,
just go get it.
And there's the foil posters again, and there's the other fun. This one's really cool too. Hopefully this one doesn't zoom out on us, but yeah, the eyes kind of follow you a bit in this 11/17 poster. You see kind of the glitter go of the RakeHell. It's on the wall. This is going to look phenomenal. It's just going to shine.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
All right, we're reaching the. Okay, this is the crossblade. Now this is I was going to ask you when you held it up. This is leather.
It's genuine leather. That's why it's $15. Yeah, and this will last you a lifetime. You're not going to damage or hurt this. It should last you a lifetime. And I'm offering it as well with the Latin saying "always forward" etched into it, or without. It's your choice.
If you don't want to see it, turn it over.
Right, that's so true. Yeah.
We got T-shirts.
First time, I printed these. I didn't mean to have T-shirts, but I got it and I loved it. It's 100% pure cotton, ring spun cotton they call it. So comfortable, and it looks great. Yeah.
You have your Legacy 15 card set from Whitefire Comics. This is cards from your other books.
This is what started it all. So when I was mentioned about me and Corey going to the first con, we didn't have we had comics, but they were online because I was having an online. So the first Sister Mercy was actually a 10-page comic that I colored and his friend Jasmine had drawn, and it was online along with RakeHell and not RakeHell, Quint and Gabriel Hand of God. They were all online comics. So I was trying to create an online comic book, but we wanted to have something at the con to give out, and we gave out this not gave out, but we sold this 15 card set of all the art that we'd started to work on. And the Forsaken Future was started back then, the original version of it before I remastered it. So this set is paying back to the history of Whitefire Comics. It's a really beautiful little set, actually. It's that silver ink on the black of it. It's beautiful.
Oh,
and it comes in that case. Yeah.
It's so hard to see that kind of stuff on a JPEG.
Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't show up. So look at this, folks. You've got all these options here. You get to pick 3 11/17 posters. I just framed 5 11/17 posters, and you get a decent frame at Walmart for like $5.85.
They got some great plastic. That's where I get mine. Oh, I don't have them here, but yeah, they're like $5 here. They're cheaper in Canada. Yeah, these
hey,
11/17 ones. But yes, so I'm starting to do this more. So I've got a ton of art, and I'm also working on an art book called The Art of Whitefire Comics that I'll be releasing next year, which has almost 100 pieces of art in it now. So now I'm starting to get into the poster side of it too, because a lot of people like the art. So I'm starting to introduce and give them options. You have to do it in sets of 3 to make it sense, because it's going to add $5 Canadian to the shipping. So just doing one poster doesn't make sense. So that's why I bulked it into 3, because it's going to add 5 on your give you a deal.
If it's worthy of being a cover, it's worth showing on the wall.
Yeah, and some of this mixed is my art in there as well, or some I worked on.
We do have stretch goals, so if we hit 3,000 Canadian, you get the Keeper holographic sticker.
Yep.
So it'll be a little shiny thing that you can put on your favorite, put on your laptop or on your refrigerator,
or on your
screensaver.
Yes,
a screensaver. I haven't seen screensaver offers.
We'll see, but it might end up just being a background. But I don't know if you can do it on the phone or not. I'm playing around with it, so that's why I got the question marks everywhere on what to do. But I want to do something that's good for the digital. I hate it when digital people don't get any stretch goals. So I'm trying to think, is it possible to create a screensaver on a phone? I'm not 100% sure. But either way, it'll be a background at worst. At worst, I'll do a nice background of some sort.
Wow, it's taking me back to like the late 80s.
Back
when you had flying toasters. I had a screensaver, and it was nothing but like the screen would go black, and then a little colored ball would drop off the screen, bounce,
And yes, I had that. Yeah.
And then a second one would bounce, and I would be like at work, and I'd be like, just
absolutely.
Now it's like, what happens when you don't do something for 5 minutes? Your screen goes black. That's it. That's your screensaver.
Yeah.
We used to be creative back then.
I remember when. Get off my lawn.
I had a screensaver. It was like, hey, put up a background and then you can float a GIF over it. So I had a screensaver that was the silhouette of a city skyline. And in the area that would float, I had a bat signal in a circle. It would just go back and forth over the set.
Fancy.
I'm sure other people did the same thing, but I had a Gotham City bat signal screensaver. Nice. Here's all the other stuff. It's where all the money's going. If you care where the money is going, you are not a comics fan.
And they do press that you should do that, that you should put it in there. But I mean, all I'm asking for is the money to print, right? To create the items. I don't make money off of doing this. That's for sure. This is just my hobby.
Well, that's a problem. See, if you're going to be in the industry, you've got to make money.
Yeah. So it's to me, the Kickstarters are about trying to recover some of the money, not for necessarily no one I know of makes a lot of money off of their comics, right? Some do. No one I know particularly. Yeah, but yeah. So that's
some make it off. Comics that you look at and you're like, really? That was a $3 million. I mean, that was a lot of money comic. I almost said a dollar amount there. I would have given it away. So, folks, 578. This is where we were when we started. I really, really needed somebody to come through on this. I need to break
out there. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it's one of those things.
It's the replays. It always comes in the replays. So everybody who's watching us on the replay now, click the button, click the link. It's right below. It's right down there. Yes, he's down there, and underneath him is
there's a basement in this.
There's a sub basement.
Yeah.
So just hit that. Go to Kickstarter. They're not even going to take your money until another 25 days. Don't wait 25 days to do it, because you'll forget. Even if you click the little remind me thing that says, hey, I'm going to be reminded, because you'll ignore it. It'll go to your spam.
Those are the cool people who are messing with me. With those people, those last minutes. Oh, I got you.
Yes.
Shake my fist.
It's not that far away from funding, guys. And I mean, you've had this for like what now? 5 days, 4 days?
Around 4 days. I launched it Friday night. Yeah.
Okay. So being halfway there is not bad.
No, it isn't. But I set it up so that it would be. You know what I mean? Like I lowered the value because I heard Kickstarter right now. It's either good or bad. It feels like there's like a line is kind of what I was hearing from different people. So it was like. But anyways, I'll babble about that, but I won't.
Yeah.
So I won't babble on. But
you'll go up to like 50% the first couple of days, and then and then you'll go up the rest of it in the last 5 days. It's there to jar your nerves and make you lose sleep and see if you log in every day. That's where Kickstarter's getting their traffic.
They want you to click like crazy
every day, refreshing.
Yeah.
All right. Doran, thank you so much, man, for coming over here with RakeHell number 2. This is a cool looking comic. I am.
Thank you.
I want this. I want to add this to my collection. And
thank you for doing what you do. I always have to say that.
I do so many things that I just do it to be a part of this community. It's like I can't draw. I can barely write. But I can talk. I'm real good at talking. I'm expert in that area. So
it sounds like you might be good at sound effects, possibly. We'll find out.
Possibly. We've done some of that and announcing, and I do some other things. We can talk about that later. But for now, folks in the chat, thank you so much for being here. We don't have a show without you guys popping in and watching it. We're just a podcast falling in the woods. So we're glad you're here. And as always, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.